We are here now with Josh Ickes, who is the senior editor here. So thanks so much for walking us through how post works. Tell me what you do as senior editor here.
So my role here at Kingfisher, it encompasses the studio for the post, but all of our other projects outside of that as well. We have on-site turnaround for Leo clients. We have other kind of more commercial leaning things. It's a wide variety, and you kind of have to be ready to move in any direction and learn a whole lot of different technology to make it happen.
At what point do you get involved with a shoot like this?
Generally, for something in the studio, it's as early as possible.
Okay.
Because when Matt and Tyler are figuring out kind of what we're going to see in the environment, we need to have discussions about what it's going to look like in the edit, because they have to plan which angles are going to happen, and they need to figure out which angles we're shooting from, because it's kind of infinite in there. So you could just keep going around and never actually quite hit the right one.
Wow, yeah. So what does post-production look like after a shoot like what we just did today?
Partially, post-production is a little easy because we've planned all the shots up front.
Okay.
So then it's running through, you're choosing the exact frames, the ins and outs for that. But the angles, which is kind of a problem in live production, that part's already locked down. So that's easier. We've got great audio capture in there as well, which kind of smooths that out too.
So what are you handed at the end of the day that you then dive into this post?
I get from the record decks the actual, what the camera saw, the people on green. We get the composite, we get the key, kind of get all these different elements individually. So that way in post, we can tweak them. You can color match a little bit better. All of your adjustments will help things blend and help them merge.
Got it. Yeah. What is a composite?
The composite is what you saw live in there, basically. It's you in the environment.
Okay. So it was the Paris streets or
Yes.
the space. That's the composite.
Yes.
Shooting me separately so that in post, if there's any weird lighting thing, you can touch it up with what you're doing.
Yes, and we can even expand the other worlds and kind of on the outsides. We also will get B-roll shots from those environments, because with the virtual camera, they can actually fly around and find a stream trickling through the trees or something, depending on where you're at.
How do you stay up to date on all the new things that are coming out? Because I can imagine you could get comfortable in one area, but you got to keep learning. Like, where do you go to educate yourself on these things?
I get educated on YouTube and Reddit, just like everybody else. And I pretty constantly, because it is my passion outside of here as well, I'm studying, I'm watching movies, watching commercials, even techniques that we found in, high-end Pepsi commercials and Lexus commercials that I can recreate and find those in the edit and bring them to our clients as well. So it's really fun to actually try to stay on the edge of those things.
That's so important. So how does the work that you're doing, the work you guys are doing, support long-term content use or repurposing?
One of the nice things is, because we're capturing all these streams separately, we can actually go back in and alter the world that they're in. So if a logo gets updated, if somebody changes their color palette a little bit, if they have an artwork in the back that represents something, we can actually swap that out as time goes on.
What is a misconception that clients usually have about the role that you're doing?
One of the misconceptions we commonly get is any of the changes are just easy, like it's a cut and paste, like it's some kind of text document or something. And I don't think the realization of a few frames can change somebody's perception of an edit. Music mix being a little higher or lower, the dialogue clipping at a certain point, all of these things can really change how you view it. And they just think sometimes it's, just slap something in there. And it's like, okay, these are all exactly chosen for a reason. Yeah. If you want to tell me the results you want to get, that's often easier and gets to actually what they want. Because on the technical end, we know what to do. When somebody says, shorten this by half. And I'm like, it's probably not going to achieve what you want, actually. Let's talk about your intent.
Interesting.
And that way we can really get to the heart of what it is.
What is your favorite part about the editing process and your least favorite part?
My favorite part about the editing process is when I crack it. There's a moment when you're doing an edit that it just starts to come together. Because especially on something creative, you're kind of like throwing footage around, you're adding B-roll, and you're feeling it out. And then it starts to find its rhythm, and you can really get into it. And that's when I get into a flow state. Least favorite is the moment right before you find the flow state, honestly, because that's the darkest before the dawn kind of moment.
Yeah.
You can sit there for a while, like you're working on it, and technically it might come together, but you really have to find the feel. And that does require sometimes stand up and walk away. Walk away and move on to another project a little bit, answer some emails, take a walk around the block.
Then lock back in.
Get a Coke Zero, and then it clicks, and you come back and it's there.
Totally. What is a win for you in this process?
There's actually kind of like multiple levels of wins. One of them is when I feel good with it, because I am a very harsh critic. Okay, if I like it, that's pretty good. Another one is internally, if our people like it. We have in the building some people with great taste and very discerning and picky.
Yeah.
Picky sometimes.
Totally.
But that's great.
You need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there are things where it's like, oh, if the audio gets past Brett, I know I did a good job. And then to see things projected or on the LED screens in big arenas and things.
That's crazy.
That's amazing to see.
That's your work.
Yeah.
Wow. That's your art. That's your craft. What are some of your favorite projects that you've gotten to work on?
One of the coolest ones was getting to work on the Ryder Cup Opening. It involved gathering footage from decades of golf broadcasts, things that were shot specifically, things that we had from stock, mixing and matching all of it. And then Brett and I getting to sit and do a voiceover with Jimmy Fallon.
What?
Yes, we directed from here.
What?
Brett directed it and I said, hey, yeah, that was good. But I got to be here with it.
He was the narrator for this?
Yes.
Whoa.
It was very cool, and that's definitely a high.
All right, take me through, first of all, what are you editing in?
So we work out of Adobe Premiere primarily. We use other software as needs arise.
Okay, give me the idea of how you structured this project.
We had segments that were kind of called out in the script because they really wanted to highlight the locale and the pride that New York and Long Island specifically would take in this. So the scripting had this great section with New York footage in the opening, and Brett helped put together this great mix of like ambient sounds of the city moving and all of this really fun stuff before we moved to the more pastoral and kind of beautiful parts that were out on the golf course. The overarching for it was the game's going to be tough, like the city, but it's beautiful. There's a lot of tradition to it. And it was really fun to get to find all the right footage that would highlight how meaningful it was to all the players. And really, it's, you know, one of the most watched golf tournaments anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's everyone who gets to play in it takes a lot of pride. And it was really nice to be able to look through their archives, find stuff that was meaningful and would really hit and carry that message that they wanted to get across.
That's so much time. That is so much patience to find exactly what you're looking for. You want to show us some of your work? Can we see this?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Warning, what you're about to witness will not be gentle. The black course is brutal. This is the Ryder Cup, and this is New York. Forged by grit, defined by glory. From Central Park to the storied shores of Long Island, only the highly skilled stay in the game. Warning, this is Bethpage Black, with the sport's most feared conditions, built to challenge the best. And this week, it's America's home course. The world is watching as the Americans and the Europeans square off. Not for individual glory, but for pride, for country, and for tradition. Where the sport's top players battle for the game's most coveted hardware. You're not here to play it safe. You're here to make history. This is golf's greatest rivalry, the Ryder Cup.
I want to go. This is awesome. I feel something. I mean, really. And my favorite part was everyone clapping on the beat. Let's go.
That's one of those things when you unlock that, you're like, oh, fantastic. Yes.
Well done. I mean, it's like no one actually really thinks about how much goes into that. And just looking at this Premiere project, it's like, how long did it take? Do you think of how many days, hours?
A lot of hours poured into this project because there were so many eyes on it and it was going to go out broadcast. It was really great to actually take everybody's input and still get to make something that I felt artistically good about.
Yeah. What are you most excited about the opening of Kingfisher Studios and your role?
Getting to really push the technology and the storytelling. That is really where my heart is. Even when it's corporate, even when it's kind of high level things, it's really important to me to get whatever the message is across in the most artistic way possible.
That's so cool. Josh, thank you so much for showing us what you can do and your creativity. You should feel so proud.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming.